Day to Commissioner Veronica Buchanan. Today is her birthday. Come on, start it off. Yeah, everybody's singing.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Veronica. Happy birthday to you.
That was all right. Okay. You're welcome. First order of business, I think we need to call the roll.
Commissioner Cook? Here. Commissioner Gammon?
Here.
Commissioner Dodd? Here. Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Buchanan?
Here.
Commissioner Gooch?
Here.
Chairman McAdoo?
Here. Okay, approval of the minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I reviewed the minutes and find them in order and move for approval.
Motion to approve and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next on the agenda, Goldstein Building. Good evening.
I think he's wanting some more information. He's not all of the space in the Goldstein building is being utilized, and I think he's wanting to collect some more information from the county as far as what we're planning on using the building for in order to put together that second phase that we're asking for as far as the pricing and the estimate of cost on that. I think that...
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Dodd.
Thank you. Bob Warren and I met after I made the motion here, and just to provide some clarity. And frankly, he and I don't think there's an appropriate direction for that motion to go. There's not any second step that this body has advised him to pursue. And I appreciate Carol voting no to my motion last month, because really we don't have direction. What I wanted to do was make sure we, as a body, consider what do we want to do next. If we need Bob Warren's counsel as an engineer, I think we can re-engage him, give him some scope. But I don't think my motion can really go anywhere, y'all, if that makes sense. At some point, if this body wants to determine what's the best use for Goldstein, better utilize the square footage, where are we going to go if State Farm does occur, and et cetera. So I think the intent of this letter is, if we have direction for Bob, if we want to study that building, until then, he's going to stand down. Do you interpret it that way, Bill?
Yes, sir. I do, Commissioner. I think there needs to be some clear direction on the building as a whole, and what direction you want to give him. What do you want him to tell us? You know, I think we're looking at several things. We have somebody who's interested in buying it. Do we go to the market and sell it to the interested party? Do we tear it down? Do we go in, if you want to save the building as it is, then pour money into it to rehab it on the inside? And then where does it come in from his standpoint? What would we do, and what are his expectations of what we want for him to do?
I think Carol was wise. I know Carol's tired of putting money into the building until we have clear direction, you know. But we have a $800,000 AC unit on that's been quoted that I don't want to spend that. So again, I throw it back to us as a body. We need to discuss what's a consensus of this body to go ahead, because we don't want to pump money into it until we know what we're going to do with it.
Well, if we decide to go in, I'm just thinking off the cuff, I'm brainstorming with you. If we go in and remodel it to exactly the way that it is, then would not, Ben, I'll ask you this, from a structural standpoint, we have determined through his work already that it's structurally sound, the bones are good. So then if we were to put it out to bid and totally remodel it, gut it, remodel it, or in phases, whatever, then wouldn't the contractor do what we're asking him to do? And I don't want to pay for things twice.
Yeah, I think we pull back on the HVAC. I think I'm correct that the folks over there can manage it. I wear a jacket in the winter. In the summer, it seems to be functionally cool.
Well, it depends on where you are in the building. If you're in the
True,
front, you're cold and
Yeah,
warm in the back of the building.
I just think we need some consensus of direction before we put any money into it or get any engineering advice.
I think that's smart.
What is our advice to the engineer? That's the first thing. What do we want? What do we
Smart
need?
decision.
The building's sound. And that's too much to put on tonight's agenda, but just somewhere along the way, we need to have that on the agenda. What do we want to do with this building?
We can look at it at a later date. The main objective was to make sure the building was safe for the employees in there. And we've done that. So I'm happy with it right now that we've accomplished what we wanted to do, to make sure the building was safe. So now we got time to look at doing other things with this building, you know.
We got a little time, but we never know when that HVAC is going to go out, right?
It's functional.
It's functional.
It's functional. It's just the layout, the design of the air conditioning. Was kind of pieced in there as we needed it, and a little bit at a time, and so it's not. I guess that's the biggest problem. But it is all functioning. It's doing what it's designed to do. It's just.
The reason I say we got time, well, because we were looking at some other things. We were looking at the library, they gotta make a decision, and all those
That does
things we
give us
got
some
on
time.
the plate. Until
Yes,
we
sir.
get some information back on those, I think we should hold off.
Mr. Chairman, one thing Mr. Warren pointed out when he was doing his report was he saw some problems with the roof, and he pointed out that they were kind of a roof maintenance issue, and so I hired a consultant to go up, walk that roof, and put together a plan that I can give to a roofing contractor and fix. We don't want to replace the whole roof, obviously, because we don't want to spend the money until we decide what we're going to do. So he said that he could give us 5 more years out of that roof just by doing some things that the consultant pointed out. And so I'm going to get that taken care of, so that'll be off of everybody's worry as well, so.
Commissioner Cook, I think she was next.
This building, for the last 30 years, has been a sore place. And when I was elected, I was told, don't promise your constituents anything, but see that their money is spent wisely. And I think this would be better for us to, since we have a buyer, to sell it. And those departments could go into State Farm building. We are getting that building, aren't we?
No, ma'am. I'll be happy to share that with you in a few moments.
Okay.
After we.
Well, if we're not getting that building, that may be a different story. Because I hate to see us put another $1 million into it.
Yeah, that's all just occurred since public safety Monday night. I'll tell you that story in a minute, but let's discuss this.
I think Murfreesboro would love to have it back on the tax roll to bring in taxes, because it could bring in a lot of taxes, just like the corner we sold. So we need to watch our money, how we're spending it.
Okay, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The way I remember it correctly, I know that I wanted to try to save the building and repurpose it, and we did the study to see, was it structurally sound? I think we've got the answer to that. And so I think that our next step would be, okay, what major improvements do we need to do? We know in the air conditioning, probably 5 years, maybe a roof, so forth and so on. And then to determine if that's more cost effective than to build a new building or something like that. So I appreciate the study and I appreciate the time that the committee has given to this, but that's what I would like to do, is to see, like you were saying, what is next. Well, to me, what would be next is seeing what major repairs that would need to be done, look at that cost, and then make a decision.
Mr. Chair, the main thing is, we refurbished the building over here. What was that, $20 million? How much was that, Mayor? On the
20 North?
21. Is that building worth putting $21 more million into it when we could possibly sell it? And we have property to build somewhere else for, I don't know, maybe $35 million or whatever, a reasonable building. I've been an advocate of doing something with it, getting rid of it. Why throw good money after bad?
Well, what this does, I think, Mr. Chairman, this gives us some time, to sit back and look, and we can maybe, if you give me direction, Ben and I can start working with some contractors to see what it would cost to go down to the Civic Plaza and build a new building, come back with that cost. We can also start working on what would it cost to upgrade the interior of the Goldstein's building, give you some choices. I think to see what is in our best interest, to include what we think that with our growth, where we're going to be. Because I think right now, it's my understanding that Tanya Bell is now, I gave her permission to go ahead and move into the mezzanine at the Goldstein's building. They were sitting on top of each other, and because Planning Commission now is coming over here to meet, they don't need that meeting room anymore, so they're having all their meetings here in this courtroom. So I gave her permission to go ahead and kind of expand into that mezzanine area for her staff at planning. But is that going to be large enough for the next 10, 15, 20 years is what we need to take into consideration.
Any more discussion? Form of a motion, or we just can make us, really don't.
No, sir, if you just give me direction, say, I'd like to, the mayor to move forward on looking. You can put it in motion if you like, Mr. Chairman, and working in conjunction with Ben and or whoever.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes. I think the prudent thing to do would be for the mayor to come back with 3 scenarios and his recommendation.
Yes, sir.
For the most prudent,
okay,
money-wise thing to do.
Just give me a little time to do that. We got the holidays coming.
Okay, Commissioner Gannon?
Are we spending any money on that building right now at all, doing anything at this time?
I'm probably, the roof repairs that I was talking about earlier, I haven't priced it, but I'm sure it's going to be less than $5,000 to get that part of it
I'm
squared
just getting
away.
that if we're doing anything over spending a bunch of money on now, that if we didn't have to do it, let's not spend no money until we find out what's going on, except for this roof that you're talking about.
We need to fix those seams just to make sure that no matter what happens, we need to take care of those seams. But like I say, the HVAC, it's not efficient, and it's not keeping the people in the building happy, but it's running and it's keeping them, it's within reason. So
Will we be able to work around, I think the Channel 5 News cameras set up there that had some kind of damage around it? Are we,
It was a
We'll be able
busted,
to work
it's like a busted bag of sand.
oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
All right.
not, it's no roof damage. you
Okay.
know, Yeah.
Okay, any more discussion on Goldstein Building? If not, maybe 60 days or something like that?
Well, that, just,
First of the year?
I'd like to request, don't put a timetable on me. I'll get it when it's efficient, because we've got the holidays, and I can't, and talking with Bart Klein, he said, go out and talk to maybe one of the contractors we have just awarded business to, and like Rock City, and get them, see if they'll come down and give us an estimate per square foot of what it would cost to build a new building, and then maybe come over and take a look at Goldstein's without costing us an arm and a leg. But based on their work timetable, it might delay me a little more than 60 days, maybe 65.
Okay. You didn't make a motion on that. That was just a suggestion, right, Commissioner Johnson?
But we'll try to do it as quickly as possible.
Suggestion, no motion, correct? All right. Next on the agenda, Lang Agricultural Building.
Okay, yes, sir, the Lane Agriculture Building, I talked to the contractor this afternoon, 95% complete. They're doing, I think they've got some events scheduled out there already, and so they're doing a final cleanup this weekend. And the storefront door, it's still boarded up. The doors in Nashville, they're just waiting on the glass to get cut. And so that's all, then he'll be installing that just as soon as the glass is ready. So, and that's,
Questions on it? Okay, next on the agenda, One Stop.
okay, the one-stop building, they're in the second pricing round. The final pricing is due on November the 16th. That's when they'll give it to the county, and I think we've got the groundbreakings tentatively scheduled. It'll be after the first of the year, probably, but but they are fixed to give us our final cost on that. So,
Any questions on One Stop? Commissioner Booth?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know that the PBA had started some discussion on naming the one-stop building, and one name that I think was brought up during that meeting was to name after Bart Smith. We may remember that it was the Smith family that donated the land to the city, and then we're renting a part of that land for, I think, $1 or so. Bart Smith was a longtime resident. His family obviously lived out there a very long time, many generations. And Bart worked for the county as a wheel tackle officer. He was taken from this earth way too soon. Talked with some people out there. Again, he was well respected. And I'm going to make a motion that we name this building after Bart Smith.
Your motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gannon. Any more discussion? I'm going to call on the mayor with a discussion on this, a legal discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I think since the family has given it to the county, given it to the city and the county, it should be named the Smith family instead of Bart Smith. I knew Bart Smith, but I think to change it to the Smith family, since they donated it, it's not just Bart that did it.
I would like to hear from the mayor, from our county attorney at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our legal counsel called today because they were tasked to go back and look at the lease, the land lease that we signed with the city of Murfreesboro. As you remember, the city of Murfreesboro chose to lease us the property, and we thought at the time it was going to be all the property, you know, the whole plot, adjacent to their fire department, at least up to what we're referring to now as the antenna road. There's a large antenna that they have erected for public safety. So we thought we were going to have that whole thing, and we had discussed with them the possibility of putting in a community library on that facility. But also before, as it was going through city planning and full city council, planning came back and they have chosen to add another possibility. They carved out another section for a possible city building that they wanted in there. So we were talking with Bart Klein just this past week of we're having to spend another $300,000 to run the entrance off of Fortress and put extruded curbs, what they're requiring of us, and landscaping on both sides of the entrance to come up to where you turn left and come down by the drive-through that will be on that side of the building for Mrs. Crowell's office. So legal came back and researched the lease that we have, and the lease says that under section F, the county shall name the facility and shall create appropriate signage to reflect the naming, subject to concurrence of the facility name by the Murfreesboro City Council. So if with this motion, that means it would have to go on to steering and to the full commission. If passed by this full commission, then it would have to go to the city council to concur with the naming. So that's where we are from a legal standpoint, because really at the end of the 50 years, if the city decide to come back, we don't really own the property. We're in a land lease. We're owning the building.
Commissioner Gooch?
Could you say again why we would have to take it to steering?
I'm sorry.
Not that I oppose that, but I'm just curious again.
Well, I was told that steering, that's one of the things that falls within their jurisdiction. I don't think we've ever named any buildings, have we? Commissioner
Not to my
McAdoo?
knowledge. If we named the Lane Building, but they gave it to us or something.
Yeah.
As far as outright naming buildings,
Well, we
haven't, but
named the original courthouse after 3 judges. The old courthouse. I know we named some rooms in there, but I don't understand why it would have to go to steering. If a motion comes out of here, why does it have to go to steering and not just straight to the full commission?
Well, I can get a clarification on that tomorrow from
county attorney.
county attorney. I'll be happy to do that.
And Commissioner Cook, on your recommendation, I've spoken with the Smith family. Now, there is also a bridge out there, I believe, that's named after the Smith-Williams Bridge, but the family would like it to be named Bart Smith.
So will we vote on this until your question is answered, or will we wait? What are we doing? I'm just curious.
My motion is to go ahead and vote on it tonight, and if it needs to go to, if the county attorney says it needs to go to steering, then we can send it to steering. If the county attorney says it doesn't need to go to steering, then to the full commission.
Sure.
couple of points I like to bring out on this. Number one, Murfreesboro City is gonna be the final say-so. Try to understand that. Murfreesboro City will be the final say-so on the naming of this building. By the way, the leases.
Well, it says concurrence, the keyword concurrence, they would have to agree to. If they agree to, then it will be. If they don't agree to, then not. But we've got either one or two more hurdles here before you.
Everyone understand that?
But I guess we would get to the county commission. If the county commission then agrees, then the city would need to agree.
Yes, that's correct.
That's fine.
Okay, and then, that's number one. Number two, do we have other names in that area? Are we just gonna go with one name, and if that one name make it, fine. If it don't, we're gonna back up and punt, or what?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I really didn't understand what you said.
In other words, I'm saying, are we just gonna go with one name? Anybody else have any other names? I know she brought up Smith family. Anybody else have any other names?
Well, obviously the building is in my district. It will be in my district next year if I'm reelected, and the people of the community has given me one name, and that's the name that I would like to put forward, Bart Smith.
Okay, what about Bubba Williams? He was in on that deal.
His name was not given to me.
His name
We
is not
can,
being
if
brought up?
there's an outcry for Bubba Williams, and when there's another opportunity, then we can look at that name.
I know his name. I know he's in the area. It was a farm adjacent to this Blackman project. I know all about this project. That's the reason I'm asking these questions. If we bring up a name tonight, Bart Smith, doesn't have to be constituents from your district. Then I have another concern. It may not be no concern. Is that we're doing business with the state, right? State have anything to say about naming the building, or do you know?
I don't know that. I'll have to call and ask them that. I know they're in talking to Bart Klein, they're pretty particular about, excuse me, about having their name displayed, the Department of Safety or DMV or whatever that's in their lease that we have with them. And then I'm sure you're going to want the building showing somewhere on the building clerk, county clerk. Rutherford County Clerk has got to be displayed so people know where to go. So then does it come down to we put a monument sign out on the corner and call it the Bart Smith Complex or the building, or, those are all questions that but it starts here.
And I appreciate that, Mr. Mayor. I think those questions can be answered along the way.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's still going to be quite some time before the building is built. It could be a
18
plaque
months.
inside. But I think we have plenty of ample time to discuss that on what the appropriate signage would be.
If that's the case, we got ample time to name it. If that's the case, we got ample time to name the building.
Advertise the name?
Ample time to name the building.
Time.
Ample time.
Ample time.
Well, the time's tonight is what I'm asking.
I don't mind either way, but being the chairman, I'm gonna have to go to probably steering, and I'm gonna have to present it to the full commission, and I just don't like to be ambushed without all my ducks in the row, especially on naming the building. The reason being, in the past, we've had names brought up. I think Commissioner Cook, Commissioner Johnson can remember some of them, like the Health Department building. It was brought up to be named
Sanders.
Dr. Sanders. And we had issues on it. The new judicial building, it was brought up on some names, and we canceled that out. Now, we did do a couple of names over here with our drug court because they made a donation or something for something, a room or whatnot, but
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Buchanan.
can I address you, Trey? will the family be okay if we, do a plaque, somewhere so that we can make sure that Tennessee Department of Transportation and so forth?
Oh, sure. And, the reason that we name buildings or streets or a school is to honor someone. And I believe that my constituents there want to use this opportunity to honor Bart Smith. And so, again, it could, in every public building, you'll have a big plaque inside that lists the commissioners, the PBA, mayor, so forth. That could be where the Bart Smith name will be. But obviously on the outside of the building, we clearly want people to recognize it as the clerk's office and the DMV. But again, this is, naming this building is just a way for us to honor Bart Smith. And the family is very cool with naming it Bart Smith and not just the Smith building. And then, again, the outside signage would really need to be clear that it is the clerk's office. And all of those questions, can be discussed and determined later. But I'm asking this committee that this building is in my district, and I know the people out there, and I would ask for your respect and with my motion tonight.
More discussion? Everybody understand the motion, reread the motion.
Will you clarify, Commissioner Gooch, or you just want to name the building after Bart Smith? Because we've mentioned the inside plaque, so I just want to be sure that we've got it.
Well, again, all those decisions can come up later.
Right, okay.
But just naming the building.
Naming the building after Bart Smith.
And sending to the appropriate next bodies, whether it be based upon the county attorney's.
Based on the county attorney, correct. We're going to do a roll call?
Any more discussion? Not call the roll.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Gammon?
Yes.
Commissioner Dodd?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Buchanan?
Yes.
Mayor Gooch?
Yes.
Chairman McAdoo?
Yes.
Thank you.
So, based on this going on to steering, I'm on steering committee. I guess I'm gonna depend on the mayor to get together with the county attorney,
I'll talk to him tomorrow. Yes, sir.
make sure that we are doing whatever legally right.
Okay.
And then we'll proceed on to the steering committee or the full commission. Correct?
Yes, sir.
And then after the full commission, we got to get the approval of Murfreesboro City
Council.
Council. Okay? And do everyone understand that? Okay. So we want to put it on the November agenda for the county commission?
When does steering meet? Next,
First Monday?
first Monday? Yeah, yeah. Why don't we just travel that? If not, it'll go straight to the next full commission meeting.
Right. Okay, next on the agenda, community care.
The community care project, it's still going, it's continuing on, but the contractor, I think, is having some labor problems with his subs, and so it's kind of stalling right now, and so that, not sure that he's going to get that worked out or not, but it's the project's moving fairly slow, so.
Any questions on community care?
Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure what's going on with the contractor out there, but I'm going to reach out to the director of the nursing home and talk with them and try to get an update. I'll come back to you, Ben, and I'll come back to you and let you know a little bit more, but if they can't seem to get it done, they were supposed to have it done. They've been telling us for 2 months. It's only going to take another 4 or 5 weeks to get it done. If he can't get it done, then we need to talk with our attorney about backing out of the contract with him and getting somebody else that can get it done. We're losing money because we're not accepting patients in those rooms that we've blocked off for the remodel. And I get COVID came into play during the last, how long have they been working out there, Ben? 2 years?
Just about, yes, sir.
Just about 2 years, and it's only supposed to be for all 3 wings to be totally renovated because it's just cosmetic on the inside. There's nothing structural. It should have been done in 6 to 8 months.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Dodd?
and we've remodeled substantial buildings. We've built buildings in that same time frame, so I'm a little, I know that's a unique environment there.
Yes, sir.
So,
And I'm concerned that we're not getting the job done.
Yeah.
I mean, Christy Houston, Ann Davis keeps calling on what's going on, so we need to be, because we have their grant money and we're not spending it,
how can what's the suggested method for confirming?
What I would like to do is reach out, have Ben take a copy of the contractor's contract that the PBA has, and get with Evan Cope, the nursing home attorney, and get with Brick Murphy, the attorney for the PBA, and let them figure out, is there an exit clause in that contract? Can we back out of it and find another contractor and move forward and pay this gentleman whatever is owed to him, and we move forward? We got to take care of our own.
Will that be up to the community care board or?
The community care board will make that decision, yes, sir.
Any more questions on community care? Okay, other business. We got one thing to bring up.
Ben's
Oh,
got
you got something else?
I just wanted to give you a quick update on the public safety building.
Okay.
The pricing, it's the same contractor that is also doing the one-stop building, and the pricing is out for the first round, but the contractor, he's asked for a little more time to try to get a few more subs involved in that, and so that's where we are on the public safety building.
Okay.
Is that Rock City?
I'm sorry. Rock City.
Yes, sir, Rock City.
That's correct.
Thank y'all.
Okay, any other business? Just one
Yeah,
thing?
Mr. Chairman, if I could, for those who were not on Public Safety Committee, let me give you an update since Commissioner Cook brought it up about the State Farm building. Late Monday afternoon, I had a conversation with Mel Schultz. Mr. Schultz is one of the 3 partners of JDM Properties LLC in Phoenix, who I've been negotiating with on the State Farm property. As you know, you authorized me to make a conditional offer, letter of intent for the first, we were going to take money out of that first tranche of money from the Department of Treasury, and we were going to put up $25,500,000. CBRE, the real estate company out of Chicago, was going to work with State Farm, because State Farm leases that building from JDM Properties in Phoenix. They were going to put up $24,500,000 for a combined offer between us and State Farm because they have 7 years left on the lease, State Farm does. They wanted to get out of the lease. That was a total of 50. In my discussion with Mr. Schultz, he really wouldn't come out and say that he was okay with that. He thinks the building's worth more. Plus, he has some investors that they answer to, he and his other two partners. But he said they would work with us in whatever way possible, but kind of alluded to that he'd work it out with State Farm if we wanted to sublease from State Farm. Because he's got a guarantee of 7 years, the next 7 years of guaranteeing money coming in. And I'm not sure he wants to let go of the property. So I told him that myself and the commission was not interested in subleasing that, especially if we're going to make a major move. If we were going to move and combine for the first time our PSAP 1 at the Sheriff's Department, our PSAP 2 at EMS, and put a combined dispatch system in, make it a secured, hardened facility, move all of our administrative offices out there. Yeah, it's a great deal for $50 million. That's why we jumped on it. But I'm not interested in doing that. He is flying in. He told me he was going to come in September. He's going to fly in on the 8th. That didn't happen. He is coming here. I talked to him again this afternoon. He's coming here next Wednesday. He's invited me to come to lunch in Nashville and meet with him. But I'm basically done with that. So what I suggested to Public Safety the other night is that we take that money set aside for purchasing the State Farm. We take it because we're going to get another $32 million, okay? So we got 64 total in the American Rescue Grant. Okay, and we're going to use 5 of that, and then we kind of holding on to a couple of extra million to move and combine our 2 dispatches out of that 32. So now that that's off the table, this year, I would like to continue working on a Plan B with M-Tissue for another location that we look to build a new building that would accommodate what we were going to use the State Farm building for, along with teaching component for M-Tissue and moving the forensic facility in there. I had dinner with Dr. McPhee 2 weeks ago, and they have a site that they're interested in talking to us, but that will give us time on that type of facility. But then let's go ahead and take and it was voted on by Public Safety, to take the $25,500,000 and move it forward instead of building one public health and safety building. Right now, let's go ahead and start on all 6. Bart Klein has already done the design, the architectural design. They have done the geotech work on 3 or 4 sites. PBA has already interviewed the contractors. They felt very comfortable with not just Rock City, but also with American contractors. So they're thinking, they haven't decided PBA, but they may end up using 3 for Rock City and 3 for American contractors, and we get all 6. So that would be not just Rockvale, as is going to be 1 this year. We'll do Rockvale, Kittrell, Christiana, Walter Hill, Las Casas. Where's the other one? Almaville. Yeah, Almaville. So that would be the 6 that we'll go ahead and start quickly using that money that's already in the bank, and then that'll give us enough time to work on the other complex next June of 22. But that also frees up members. That frees up they think that by doing all 6 and talking to Bart Klein, it's going to cost us around 28 or 29 million to build all 6. Then that would free up the balance of that towards the 32 million that we already have in hand. And I made a request that we go ahead and pay our county employees a $2,000 net bonus at the end of next month, right in front of Christmas. So they would get a net bonus of $2,000 for all full-time and $1,000 for all part-time. As county mayor, the rescue plan allows me not to set. I only made a suggestion of what to give employees, but I do have the authority to determine who is essential. I didn't want to get down in the weeds and start saying, well, you went home and you weren't essential and you only worked these times. So Sonia gave me the timetable between the second week of March up until everybody returned back to work will be included in that, and I deemed everybody essential instead of picking and choosing. You know, some say, well, our first responders were more affected than anybody else. Well, you know, I disagree with that. I think we had people down in Teb's office who were just as vulnerable, taking people's money to pay their salary, coming into the trustee's office, or somebody at the convenience center taking somebody's trash, were just as vulnerable to an invisible virus, COVID-19, as anybody else. So I hope that when you go to the full commission, you'll consider that. This will go to budget and then to the full commission. But we're killing two birds with one stone on this.
Any discussion on?
Yes, sir. Was the State Farm letter rescinded? The letter of intent rescinded?
I have requested that. In talking to Jordan with CBRE in Chicago, I talked to him yesterday, but then I can still, if, depends on what he tells me Wednesday when I have lunch with him, and, you know, if he says I'll take 45, then I'll rescind the rescission.
Okay. The public safety buildings, they've proceeded as if the State Farm money has been rescinded.
That's correct.
So we need to rescind the State Farm letter, I would assume.
Yes, sir.
Is budget going to look at this
Yes, sir.
specifically? Will
Yeah.
budget look at the where does the public safety buildings go next? To
The
budget?
public safety buildings will go to budget.
Okay.
Okay, because it really doesn't come to this committee. I'm just sharing with you for informational purposes. It will come to this committee once they're built. Public safety has a direction, so they're sending it on to budget for that amount of money.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
Is our committee the appropriate committee for the State Farm? Were we the committee that motioned to buy the State Farm building, or we motioned to send it to budget? Who?
Brought to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was brought to us.
I think it'd be
And
appropriate.
then we send it on.
I think it'd be appropriate to rescind the letter. You know, at least
From
we've
this
got it on
committee?
record. Yes, sir. The rescission letter.
Hearing this and hearing the money, I got to be careful here. It sounds like if the money for the State Farm building has been placed elsewhere, I'll make a motion that we rescind the purchase letter that we forwarded to State Farm.
Do I hear a second to that motion? Got a second. Any discussion? Everyone understand the motion? So call the roll.
I'm sorry?
Read the motion.
Motion to rescind the State Farm letter of intent if the money has been,
Go ahead.
if the money has been repurposed or.
And request our $100,000 earnest money back.
And with all earnest money being
I'm sorry?
returned.
We haven't sent the 100,000? Okay, well, we'll just send the letter.
Good.
I thought we put up earnest money.
Anybody else got any questions? If not, call the roll.
Mr. Gammon?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Buchanan? Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Dodd?
Yes.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Chairman McAdoo?
Yes. Okay, we're looking at the 6 public safety buildings.
Health and safety.
Health and safety building with this money.
We have to use the word health, otherwise it doesn't qualify under COVID.
Okay,
That's why I say that.
okay. All right, is that the only?
Yes, sir.
That money?
Yes, sir.
Anybody else got any questions on the State Farm building? But I would like to bring up a meeting schedule for November. Next meeting date is on Thanksgiving, so we need to pick another date. What about November the 18th? Yeah. November 18th, we have any objection to that? We don't, we'll just set the November meeting for November the 18th. That's the third Thursday in November. Is there anything else to come before property management?
Mr. Chairman, looks like Ben got out. Have we formally told this committee Ben is resigning?
Yeah, well, yes, he made a statement of it.
Okay, he's not resigning, he's retiring, I'm sorry. He's retiring after 30 years, is well-deserved. And he's wants to spend a little time with his wife and enjoy his cows and
Travel.
travel. Yeah, we'll call him, he'll be in Belize somewhere.
Yeah, he specifically stated travel.
Travel, exactly. So we'll make sure we do something special for Ben. He's been a good employee over the years. Remember, members, tomorrow, chili cook-off, 11 o'clock. We've moved everything inside. You saw the table set up inside because we know it's going to rain. Chili cook-off, 11 to 1, $5. It's the end of our United Way campaign. So we'll have 3 different categories: regular, hot, and special. Now, whatever special is, that could be roadkill, it could be deer, it could be chocolate, whatever. You may want to, whoever wants to put it in there.
Will they take MasterCard?
Yeah, but you don't want to pay the fee.
Yeah, for accepting the card.
Exactly. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody else have anything else to bring up? Not, entertain a motion to adjourn.